Hey everybody, welcome to another Crafting with Friends, miles apart but dear in heart. We got a card that's really for a beginner or an advanced. It's however you want to make it. We're doing birthday cards, but it could be any card you preferred. I'll let Stephanie take it from here.
Okay, we've decided to do a gatefold card. Um, when we thought at first about how to do it, we thought, well, we'll do one with a frame and an embellishment in the middle. And then we thought, let's step it up a bit and let's make the frame into an interlocking frame, just to add a little bit more interest. So that's what we're going to do. Now, we thought there was no point in us both doing a pretty floral card. Somebody would have to do a male version of it, and I got the short straw. So Tammy's going to do the pretty lady one, and I'm going to do one that's ideal for the men in our lives. And as much as we like doing the pretty cards, I think we've all got men in our lives, either fathers or brothers, husbands, sons, partners, you name it. And they do like to get cards as well. So we just wanted to ring the changes and let you see what you can do. So I think we'll get us started and we'll show you what we're doing. Okay, we'll
Okay.
change cameras now. Okay, so we'll start with the base card. I'll wait till Tammy's here because I can't see her. Oh, she's totally right. We're going to start with the base card, and I've gone for a creamy colour this time. Rather, normally I would go for white. Your base card needs to be a good strength. It's no good having a flimsy card for the base for everything that it's got to hold. So in the UK, I would say 250 GSM to 300. I wouldn't go any less. I don't know what it would be in pounds for the US, Tammy.
What 8.5 by 11? What did you say? The GSM?
How is it GSM? But I know it's pounds in the US. So, is it sort of 122 or something like that? I'm not quite sure for a good strong
Well, the
card.
way I personally, the way I buy cardstock is I don't look at the pounds because you can actually get the same pound and it be completely different in thickness. So what I look at it as the GSM, and mine is 100 GSM. But I have some that's like 125 to 140. But for this particular card, I only used the 120.
Right. I
Yeah.
think ours must be
Well,
different.
actually, 120 pound, but 240 GSM. That's right.
Yeah, I was going to say you want a nice sturdy card stock. So what I'm going to start with, I'll start with the measurements, and this is actually for the base. So we're starting, and I'm dropping my scoring tool before I've even started. That's good. Right. So what we want is a piece of cardstock that measures 11 inches across by 5.5 inches deep, and the actual card, when it's then folded, will be a 5.5 inch square card. But it's really easy. If somebody thought, well, I don't want it quite as deep as that, you could make it a shallower card. You could add it and make it extra, because it's only the scoring measurements to fold it that matter. The actual length doesn't matter, but in this case we're going to do it 5.5 inches deep. So to score it, you want to score it at 2 3/4 inches on both sides. Now I could say 2 3/4 and the next one is 8 1/4, but quite honestly, I hate to have to remember lots of measurements. So to me, the easiest way is 2 3/4, flip it round and do 2 3/4 on the other side as well. So that's your actual base card, and that's all you need to do to make the base. So then what we do is fold it and burnish it. Do a nice burnish so it's a really nice crisp finish. Just fold it up together like that. Then you've got, so there is your base card. I'm going to do the front panels first and a little bit of measuring again. I've done one because you don't want to be watching me gluing. So what I've done, I've got some gold cardstock and I've embossed on a piece of black cardstock, which is actually going to go on the front. But what I've done, started off with 2 pieces of card, and as a rule of thumb, I always go, if I'm doing a mat and a layer, I always go, each layer is 1/4 of an inch less in width and length of the piece that I'm laying it on. So as I said, this piece is 2 3/4, this half of the card is 2 3/4 in width, and it's 5.5 inches in depth. So my piece, I wrote on the back, I'm going to do it 1/4 of an inch less so that we'll get a nice 1/8 of an inch border round. So it's 2.5 inches wide by 5 1/4. The next piece, which is going to fit on, again wants to be 1/8 of an inch less. So I've done this one 2 1/4 inches wide by 5 inches in depth. So as I say, when you look at that, you get, when it's laid on there, you're going to get an 1/8 of an inch border in cream, an 1/8 of an inch border in gold, and then an 1/8 of an inch. So it's just a nice even border and it makes it look nice. So what I'll do with this, it's the only one I've got to glue now, because I did one, because you don't want to be watching me gluing card. So I'll do this. And we can't see your camera, Tammy. Have you gone missing?
Yes, I let you be solo so that it's easy for them to see exactly what you're doing.
Right. Okay.
I'll come back when it's time to decorate.
Okay, so you're working in the background doing your card. Tammy's doing exactly what I'm doing. She's following it. She's been scoring it and she's adding her pieces to a card. Okay, so right, I'm going to stick these on, and these are the front pieces. And then when we've done that, we'll show you how we did the interlocking frame, because we thought rather than just do a frame and put the embellishment on, it would look a bit more special. So I'm going to do this and add this to the card. I think it's just a nice amount of border around the 1/8 of an inch. I think it sits pretty well. And I tried to find an embossing folder that had sort of things that looked a bit more sort of almost like tracks or something, sort of, you know, more of a man theme thing. So I'll glue this one down as well. Give it a good press to make sure the glue sets. You can see it's actually quite easy, but it looks, I think it looks, I know it's a man one, but I think it looks quite smart with having the cream and the gold. So that's all it is to the front of the card. And now I'm going to show you how we've done an interlocking frame. So what we did, Tammy's done the same as me. I've cut a frame out. Removed the obviously the gold centerpiece, because I wanted a piece of cream cardstock so it would match with the rest of the card. So I cut an extra one in this color, so that actual frame fits inside there. Tammy came up with a good tip though, so that it did move freely in and out, to cut the tiniest slither off all 4 sides. And when I mean a slither, I mean really not much more than a cotton thread, and it just means that it will move in and out easier. Another thing, and this was Tammy's idea as well, this the gold that I've used is quite a sturdy cardstock, but it needed that little bit more to make it stronger, because if somebody's opening and closing a card and these are going in and out, you want it to be able to stand up and be strong. So I've cut an extra piece and stuck it on the back, so now it is really quite a strong piece of card for a frame. Now, something else you have to think about when you're doing your frame is if you've got any sentiments or anything that are going to go on. So you want to make sure that before you stick it, you're thinking about where things are going to go. And I've got here a happy birthday friend. I'm not going to put it on yet, but I wanted to make sure that I was allowing enough room so that my frame was in the right place. So if I put it there, I'm just looking to make sure there's enough room before I put the frame down. So I think I'm quite happy with it about there. It's giving me room to put the sentiments on. So if I take those sentiments away, I know the height that I want it to be, and then I'm going to look and see roughly where I want it to be in the center to make sure I've got it pretty well in the center. And then this is what I do to make it much easier. That's where I'm going to have it in the center, and the little piece that's going to have the embellishment fits in the middle. Now you've got to decide which one you want to be the opening part and which of each part. Now my frame, I want to open this way. So that would mean that the inner part would open the opposite way. So the easiest way that I found to do this so that you don't get it wrong and you're not gluing in the wrong place or sticking, once you've decided where you're going to put that, put both pieces in, get some low tack tape, which I've got some here. And what you're going to do is make sure it's exactly where you want it to be. I'm just looking to make sure that I've got it in exactly the right spot. And I'm going to tape one side down. It's only low tack tapes, it's not there permanent. Right, that means that now when I open this up, I can't glue it wrong because I want the frame to be the one that's glued on this side. So the only piece that can be glued is or taped is that. That's what I want. So it can't glue where it shouldn't glue. But for speed, rather than having to wait for glue to dry, I've decided to use some red liner tape. And then you can see. So obviously, because this is going to be the piece that opens on the other side, this is going to open this side. So we don't want to glue that. The only thing we want to glue or tape is that. And then it'll all become clear when I've done it, and you can see. So you can't glue it or tape it in the wrong place because only half of it is showing, and it's the half that you need to glue. I'll just pop this on here. And then take it off. Oops, that's a good start, isn't it? I've done that and now it's coming undone. That's live recording for you.
Yes, indeed.
Make sure it's right, because I don't want to glue it wrong when I'm saying this is and it is the best way to do it. But right, yeah, no, it's still right. And just take this bit, but before I do it, I'm just going to absolutely double check that I've got that right. And I've lost the end of the tape now. No, I haven't. I've found it. Just reline that back up to make sure I've got it right. Make sure it's level. Yeah, I think that looks level. Yeah. So because I've stuck it there, that's the only piece that that will glue. Okay, so take the bits of tape off. Okay. Now then, when I close this back up, that's going to be the bit that will tape. So I close that back up there. It can't glue anywhere else but the pieces that I've put the tape on. Now we're going to change it over and do it the other side. So if I move that over like that, and this time, because we want that to stay in place, we're going to glue this side. Hold the tape on that side so that when we open this side, we know that this is going to stay clear, but this is the piece now that wants to be glued or taped. Let's say I'm going to use red liner tape because it's just at the moment it's quicker than having to wait for glue to set on something that's as strong. So we'll put some red liner tape on here. Can hear Tammy working in the background.
Yes.
I should have probably got hold of some thicker then. I could have just done 2 pieces instead of messing about with this thin, but the thin was right for the frame. So I'll do that. And it is good, strong tape, construction tape. So just take it off. Right, so now when we close it, the other side will be stuck. So that's there. Bring this back in place now, and then just press this down. So when I remove this low tack tape, hey presto, what we've got is a card that's got opens one way, half of it, and then the other way. So it actually works like that. Whoops. So when you open the card, you've got a frame that opens and closes, rather than it just being a frame on the top. So now I've done that, before I put the embellishment on the front or the sentiment, which is on dimensionals, I'm going to do the inside, which makes it easier for after. So I've got some panels for on the inside. Now on this side I did 2 panels, but for the inside I'm just going to do individual plain ones. So like I said before, because it's 2 3/4 inches by 5 1/2, I'm doing a 2 1/2 inch panel by 5 1/4. So that then will just fit nicely on the inside of the card like that. So I'll glue those 2 pieces in. So have you got to that stage, Tammy, where you're gluing your panels in?
That's where I'm at.
Oh, so you're coming back on now, because there's no more measurements now to worry about. It is an easy card to do, but it's actually, I think it's quite nice. It's a bit different having a frame that's got interlocking rather than just a frame with a sentiment on or a embellishment.
Okay, I'll come in and
Okay. Tammy's much prettier than mine. I say mine's a man's one. She's going to be doing a beautiful ladies one. And then we'll tell you about the flowers as well when Tammy's done it.
What I'm working on right now is my happy birthdays that go. My sentiment's going to go on the inside. So I'm stacking 2 together just to give it a little dimension.
That's beautiful, Tammy. I love the colour of the papers as well.
Thank you. It's all print and cut. Then my Cameo 3, the registration marks from a recent update, I think, have it to where I can't do my print and cut. So I wound up inking the purple panels with distressed oxide. But I had already printed the pattern paper yesterday, so I didn't have to worry about it.
That's good. Right, the other thing I forgot to mention, the actual panel for inside. So this piece of the card in the center is a 5 by 5 card blank. So again, 1/4 of an inch off to make an 1/8 of an inch border. So this one, instead of being 5 1/2, is 5 1/4. But what I actually did as well, I didn't want to have the whole thing with this pattern paper, so I cut another piece of the cream embossed card, used half of each, that and half the pattern, and put a gold strip across just to give it a little bit more. I think it would have been too much if it had been all the cream or all the coloured bits. So So that was what I did. And then, as most men, I've got a card for I've got a card for mine. No pretty flowers.
That's okay. It's still a stunning card.
So I've got dimensionals on the back of this. Luckily, they're not too high up. I chose dimensionals that weren't too high, so the card will still close without it bulking out. So
Yeah. Just when I go to lay it down, I seen something. There we go.
you okay?
Yeah, I went to lay my sentiment down and I seen, you know how the paper has like a little hair on it or something?
Right.
And I spotted it and it's brown, so I didn't want that on my card.
And you can guarantee that if you're doing it sort of on a video, if there is anything will go wrong, it will.
Exactly. So I was going to mention the flowers I'm using. We're not affiliated with this guy, none whatsoever, but he makes some beautiful flowers, and it's from John next door. Patty's got the link down below from Craft Stash where you can get it, but it's only got one sheet, and it makes 5 different sizes, and you cut it out all at one time. You know, it's just, and it makes beautiful flowers. And depending on how many you stack together, the flowers can be fuller or not so full. But it's John next door, and these are his marigold.
Yeah. And the brilliant thing about it is, I'm like Tammy, I've got it. I've been a fan of John's for about 12 years. He does some fabulous stuff and he's reasonably priced. This sheet has got 12 flowers on it. And 4 of these will fit on an A4 or a letter size US. So you can end up with 48 flowers. And also, if you look at the packaging, it's got a scan code. So if you buy it and you scan that, it takes you to the videos where all the different flowers and how he does them are there. And it is really quite good. It's something that's an investment. It's well worth having in your stash.
It really is. And they're really, really easy to work with. You don't need any special tools or anything.
No,
I
they
use
are.
my fingers.
In actual fact, all my cogs are John next door. I've had them for years. And I think he still sells them now. So, yeah. But the flowers are absolutely beautiful, aren't they, though? And particularly when you build them up layer over layer. Start with a large one and then put the smaller ones on, and they do look really beautiful.
Since I'm putting these on the inside, I'm only going to use 2 of the little petals because I don't want it to have much bulk. I created my front panel before I came on, so I'll show it to you when I finished on the inside.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
The hardest part's waiting for the glue to dry.
I think so, Tammy. That's why I use the red liner tape for the actual mechanism, because I thought, you want to do it quite quickly. So yeah, we're having to squash everything down to make sure we get them glued properly for you. But I think it's a really nice card, and it says Father's Day coming up soon. Or in the US, are you? I know in the UK it's June, middle of
Yeah, it's
June.
June here too. It
Is
is.
it June the same here?
It
Yeah, for
is.
you.
We'll have to. I think we have one in mind, maybe for Father's Day. We'll have
Hmm.
to stay tuned. It's a Stephanie and I original. You're
Yes,
not
it
going to
is.
find the design on YouTube. I don't think. I've never seen it. It was requested by Patty Ann,
And
and we
it
think
took us a while, didn't it?
it did. It gave us fits for a little bit, and it shouldn't have. It's kind of mind-boggling that it did because it's not a difficult card to make. It really wasn't the card itself; it was the image kind of got to us.
We struggled a bit with it, didn't we? But then,
We did, but in the end, it turned out really awesome.
mhm.
And like all of our cards, it doesn't have to be a Father's Day card.
No, it could be anything, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Mhm. I think my card's going to be cogged up.
He's got like she said, John next door has a video on putting these things together. And because I don't want much bulk on the inside, I'm making these a whole lot, um, not as full.
Less layers,
Yeah, just
but the ones you've done for the front are beautiful.
thank you. It's it is definitely the card design, the flower design. He really, really done an awesome job with these.
Mhm.
And another thing I'll mention is you don't have to use the really thin cardstock that we normally try to use for flowers. You can use just uh, regular cardstock.
Yeah, and that makes it stronger, I think, as well. Got all the tape sticking to me every time I'm trying to peel this off. The tape sticking to my fingers.
Ah,
I'm just taking I've just done another cog and layered it up, and then just put some dimensionals behind it so that my fingers are sticking to it. Whoops. You can put the sentiment in the center of your card. I've just put birthday wishes in the center, but I have actually, I'll show you in a minute. I've done a verse because mine's going to be for an elderly neighbour, and he's 94 in July, so I thought that'd be a perfect card for him. So I've actually done a verse for the back for him as well. So rather than just put the sentiment in the center, I wanted to do a verse.
I really don't have anybody in mind for mine. I'm just
But it's
putting
lovely
down.
when you've got cards for later on when you do want. It's really nice to have some cards in your stash spare. So when you do need a card, you know you can go and get one. And they're much prettier and nicer than bought cards. And I think people appreciate it because they think you've spent the time doing it for them, and it's made with love, isn't it?
It is. Another thing I'll mention is he does have a leaf set that he's made to go with these, but we already had leaves. I had leaves in my stash, so I didn't get
Yeah.
that. I just got the flowers. Stephanie and I, we don't really, we're not promoting anybody really, other than Patty Ann. We appreciate it if you click like and subscribe to her channel.
Mhm.
But when we find something good that we feel is a really good investment, we do want to share.
Yeah. Yeah, because crafting's a fabulous hobby, but it can get expensive, and we wanted to sort of look at ways that we could make it affordable for everybody. You can spend a fortune if you want, but if you haven't got a fortune to spend and you want to make some nice cards, I mean, we've, apart from the flowers and the dies that I've used for this, it's just been a scoreboard. And even if you hadn't got a scoreboard, if you've got a sort of like a mouse mat or something, and a ruler and a scoring tool, it doesn't have to sort of cost a fortune, but you can get so much pleasure out of it. To me, I think it's a therapy. It's not just a hobby.
Yes, it can really make my day to be able to. Now, mind you, there are times that I can come in here and can't think of anything to make. I just go blank. And on those days, I'm blessed to have my crafty friend that'll jump on here and chat with me, or or talk to
We
Patty,
can
and we try to get each other's mojo back.
we can usually come up with something, can't we?
Yes.
And I've got a sentiment that I'm going to put on mine. I'm going to stick it on the back of my card. It'll fit on the back. And it says, a special message just to say you're thought so much of in every way, wishing you a very happy birthday. So it's got the birthday wishes just for you inside, but I'm going to put this on the back, and then
I love that stuff.
he's got a birthday card, and then I can write underneath that it's from me. Although I think he knows though whenever he gets a card, because he said, I never get any special cards from anybody else. They're all bought ones. They're not special ones like you send.
So I'm finished with mine. Here's the front.
That is gorgeous. Tammy,
I,
those flowers are fantastic.
I doubled up on the flowers to make them a little bit more fluffy, and used my alcohol markers to add the color. And then you open it up, and that's the inside.
That is stunning. Absolutely beautiful.
So is yours. I love it.
And it locks, doesn't it? So they're locking
Yes, it
in. Yep. So mine's finished as well. And I did actually get a few of the little gems because I thought men can have them as well, can't they? So mine is just a cog, well, 3 cogs on top. Happy birthday, friend. And then inside, it's birthday wishes just for you, with a car raised up with dimensionals
I
and some
love
more.
that.
So we wanted to show you that you can do both, a beautiful ladies card and even a nice man's one as well.
So we hope you've enjoyed this episode, and stay tuned, because we definitely will be coming back with another one shortly.
Okay, bye, and thank you for
Bye, everyone.
watching this. Bye.
Thank